Good morning. This is Developing Stories. My name is Redmi Allen. The Joint Health Sector Unions, JOESO, has rejected calls to suspend its ongoing nationwide strike, insisting that any decision on the industrial action must first be taken collectively by its members' union. According to the president of JOESO, Mr. Kabiru Minjiber, the unions had informed the federal government's negotiation committee that they could not call off the strike without consulting their members. Minjiber said the committee had urged the unions to suspend the action following recent engagements, but JOESO declined and instead reserved to convene an expanded National Executive Council meeting to deliberate on the matter. JOESO, in collaboration with the Assembly of Healthcare Professional Associations, commenced an indefinite nationwide strike on November 15, 2025, over the federal government's failure to implement the adjusted consolidated health salary structure and address lingering welfare and systemic challenges facing health workers. The strike has continued to disrupt services in public health institutions across the country, heightening concerns among patients and other healthcare stakeholders. Crises have erupted in Ugborodo community as one person was shot dead and a house set ablaze. A young man allegedly lost his life after being hit by a stray bullet in one of the communities in Ugborodo during a gun battle. Ugborodo has been embroiled in a leadership crisis for over 4 years, with two rival groups claiming authority over the community. Chairman of the Ugborodo Community Trust, Joseph Tenuma, who leads one of the factions, appealed for peace, expressing deep concern over the recent violence. Some community members had occupied Chevron's facility last week, demanding employment and empowerment for locals. Temuna and other leaders opposed the protest, insisting that dialogue with the oil company was the proper way to resolve issues. The final batch of 130 students abducted from St. Mary's Catholic Primary and Secondary School in Papiri, Niger State, have regained their freedom, bringing to an end one of Nigeria's largest recent mass school kidnappings. Special advisor to the President of Media and Communication, Sunday Diary, disclosed on his official X handle that all 303 students and 12 teachers seized during the November 21 attack have now been accounted for. The freed children arrived in Minna, the Niger State capital, joining earlier batches released in phases over the past month. About 50 students had escaped from the kidnappers' den on their own, while security agencies freed 100 students on December 8th. The students were received at the Niger State Government House in a ceremony attended by Governor Mohamed Bago, who assured that health workers would examine the children before reuniting them with their families. The APCE registration coordinator in the state, Flavor Eze, has expressed confidence that it would conclude the registration before the January 30, 2026 deadline set by its national chairman, Professor Nentawe Yowada. Eze said the world agents were trained to carry out the registration exercise expected to commence on January 2026, adding that the party trained 5 agents per word across the state's 260 words, while reminding them that they are the pillars of the party in Enugu State. The coordinator urged them to understand the training to enable them deliver effectively on their assignments. He consequently urged the people of Enugu State to be happy with the gesture of the state government, which he said has also put in place packages to empower them. The Sultan of Sokoto and President General of the Nigeria Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs, Mohammed Sahad Abubakar, has announced Monday, December 22, 2025, as the first day of Rajab 1447 AH. The declaration came in a statement signed by the Waziri in Sokoto, Professor Sambo Junadu, who chairs the Sultanate Council Advisory Committee on Religious Affairs. The committee, working with the National Moon Sighting Committee, received no reports of the Rajab Crescent moon sighting anywhere in Nigeria on Saturday, December 20, 2025, corresponding to the 29th of Jumada Asaniya 1447 AH. As a result, Sunday, December 21, 2025, marks the 30th and final day of Jumada Asaniya 1447 AH. The Sultan has accordingly approved Monday as the start of Rajab 1447 AH. Northern youths under the aegis of the Arewa Youth Assembly have rejected the newly enacted tax reform laws signed by President Bola Tinubu, alleging that the version gazetted and released to the public differs from what was passed by the National Assembly. The group described the development's governance by ambush and warned that the controversy could have serious political consequences if not addressed. Speaker of the Assembly, Mohammed Salihu Danlami, said the rejection was based on what he described as disturbing experiences, disturbing discrepancies between the laws approved by lawmakers and the versions presented to Nigerians. Danlami explained that if the law presented to the public is not the same law debated and passed by elected representatives, then democracy itself is being subverted. The tax reform laws, which are scheduled to take effect on January 1, 2026, were signed recently by Tinubu and have been described by the federal government the most far-reaching overhaul of Nigeria's tax system in decades. Nigeria's exports to the United States fell by 940.98 billion naira in the first 9 months of 2025, even as imports from America more than doubled, reversing the trade balance that favored Nigeria a year earlier. Findings from the National Bureau of Statistics foreign trade data showed that Nigeria exported goods worth 3.65 trillion naira to the US in the first 9 months of 2025, down from 4.59 trillion naira recorded in the corresponding period of 2024, representing a decline of 20.5% or 940.98 billion naira. This left Nigeria with a trade deficit of about 3.15 trillion naira with the United States in the first 9 months of 2025, compared with a trade surplus of 1.57 trillion naira in the corresponding period of 2024. The deterioration coincided with Washington's implementation of its reciprocal tariff regime, under which Donald Trump signed an executive order raising Nigeria's tariff rate from 14% to 15%. Stakeholders in Nigeria's export sector have called on the United States of America to review the tariffs on Nigerian products while describing the tariff as an opportunity for the country to expand its non-oil exports. A Russian general has been killed in an explosion in Moscow. Russia's investigating committee said Lieutenant General Fanil Savarov died after an explosive device planted under a car detonated. Savarov was the head of the Armed Forces Operational Training Department. One theory being speculated is the involvement of Ukrainian intelligence services, but Ukraine has not commented. Investigators have been sent to the scene, reportedly in the south of Raja's capital. And from the sporting arena, Nigeria's Super Eagles enter AFCON 2025 as hungry runners-up, determined to erase last year's final heartbreak and claim a fourth continental crown amid Morocco's hosting pressure. Victor Osimhen leads the three-time champions into a tough Group D against Equatorial Guinea, Cote d'Ivoire, and Guinea-Bissau, facing giants like host Morocco, world record 18-win streak, Salah's Egypt, reigning champ Senegal, Mani Ndiaye duo, and 2024 winners Cote d'Ivoire. The tournament kicks off today at Rabat's 69,000 seats Prince Maoulay Abdallah Stadium with Morocco versus Comoros, but all eyes turn to Nigeria's campaign. After missing World Cup qualification in the Super Eagles aim to channel semi-finalist Morocco's 2022 World Cup magic. And with that story, we've come to the end of Developing Stories. Many thanks for watching. Good morning.